Now, within the last few minutes, Treasurer Joe Hockey has been addressing the media in Sydney. Let's take a listen to what he's had to say.
Well, it's terrific to be here at Road Microphones, and thank you so much, Peter, for having my good friend Craig Laundy and myself here. What a terrific Australian manufacturing story this is. I understand the business exports 500,000 units a year overseas. 97% of what 97% of what is manufactured here is exported to more than 100 countries. And Peter's just set up an office in Shenzhen and is exporting to China. And what a great story that is for Australia. Congratulations, mate. And we've done our bit. Removing the carbon tax helps. Peter told me that he consumes enough electricity to power a small city. Well, getting rid of the carbon tax is going to reduce the burden of rising electricity costs, and importantly, it helps to make us more competitive when it comes to imports and also operating in other markets. Now, the fact is, these businesses flourish and grow when governments are responsible and considered in the way they manage their own affairs. That's why we're getting rid of regulation, why we're getting rid of taxes, and that's why we're focusing on living within our means. The budget needs to be fixed. There are debt deniers in Australia. That is unacceptable. The worst thing we could do to Australia is to burden businesses like this, employees like those around us, with a possible debt burden of $25,000 for every man, woman and child in 10 years' time, unless the government gets the budget challenge under control, and that's what we're doing. The day-to-day bills are being paid, but we need to lay down the structural response to the debt levy, the debt burden that has been left by the Labor Party. And that's why we're focused on getting our structural reforms to the budget through the Parliament.
Is there a rush to do that? The Finance Minister seemed to indicate last night that there wasn't.
Well, look, the fact is we want to get on with the job of delivering stable, predictable government for Australia. If the government lives within its means, then that can give business and consumers confidence that there's not going to be any surprises in the future to address what would be a massive challenge left by Labor of $667 billion of debt in 10 years' time. That means if no corrective action is taken now, we're going to have to find $3 billion a month just to pay the interest on the debt legacy left by Labor.
Does it need to happen immediately then?
We've got to get on with the job now. The quicker we take action to fix the structural challenges left by Labor over the next decade, the less severe the response would have to be in the future.
Do you think there's efforts to convince the public and the crossbench to fail so far?
No, we have. We've engaged very productively with sensible senators, and I am very confident that we will be able to prevail, that despite the best efforts of the Labor Party and the Greens to derail our attempts to fix the mess they left, I'm confident that we can get the structural savings through. That's what we're focused on, getting on with the job of dealing with the structural problems left by Labor.
Do you think maybe there's some mixed messages being sent then when the Finance Minister comes out last night and says that you've got time to get these measures through, but you're saying that they need to happen quickly?
Well, they are structural reforms. The day-to-day budget is being addressed. The day-to-day business of government is being delivered. And we've been saying that constantly. Most of the budget has passed through the Parliament. But we are now dealing with some of the structural challenges. And that means that we've got to focus on the structural responses, such as ensuring that we have a co-payment to ensure that our Medicare system is sustainable and affordable in the future, making sure that we have sensible changes in welfare so that we have a appropriately funded safety net for those most vulnerable in the future, and getting on with the job of building the infrastructure that is going to strengthen the economy over the 21st century.
Mathias commented this morning the GP co-payment will help the budget bottom line because the capital going into the medical research future fund helps the balance sheet. Can you explain this?
Yes, because effectively the savings in health go into the Medical Research Future Fund. And given that all that money is not going to be spent, but the return on the investment from the Medical Research Future Fund will gradually increase over time, the overall benefit of our health reforms is a significant saving to the budget.
Why hasn't the government made this argument before?
We have, but perhaps you didn't hear it.
What about the people of Western Sydney who say we're paying the bills day to day? Some of them aren't managing to pay their bills now. Or how are they going to do so with some of these measures that you're introducing?
Well, the best way to help the people in the community who make the contribution through work or through day-to-day life, the best way to help the whole community is to ensure that people have jobs. And what has been of great interest to me in tour of this magnificent facility is the diversity of the community, the diversity of the workforce. And the best thing for a family, the best thing for prosperity is to give people the opportunity to have a well-paid job. Now, you hear people saying that manufacturing is finished. Well, it's not. Look behind me, look around us. This is the sort of manufacturing future Australia has. It's a great story. And it's a great credit to Peter and all the team at Road Microphones.
Talk about businesses like this having a close tie with China. What do you think about the recent comments by the Palmer United Party in terms of damaging those relationships?
Look, Mr Palmer has a very loud voice. And I urge him to think first of the best interests of Australia. And if he does that, he would recognise that businesses such as this, which have growing market opportunities in China, rely on our biggest trading partner to be a willing engager in day-to-day commerce. Now, Mr Palmer has a responsibility as a party leader to put the nation's interests first. And that's what we're urging him to do, whether it be about China or be about the budget or anything else.
Well, what's the risk of what he said? And do you feel like you have like a PR battle on your hands in terms of convincing your Chinese?
Look, the relationship with China is deep enough and sophisticated enough to withstand the odd angry shot. But, you know, they are our biggest trading partner, and there are a heap of people employed in Australia as a result of the fact that China's buying a lot of what we produce. And it's not only what we produce out of the ground, it's what we produce through our own effort in manufacturing and in innovation. And exactly the example right here, as I've said, is the business of the future that is going to help to grow our economy through manufacturing and exports to China.
I have a quick question about the anti-terror laws. You're obviously in Western Sydney. We had earlier this week the Muslim groups that have met with the Prime Minister saying that they're unhappy with the rhetoric around the anti-terror laws. They feel like they're just targeting the Muslim community. And some have even said the Prime Minister mustn't dog whistle on this issue. I might ask you what you found on the ground here in Western Sydney and
Look,
also Craig as well.
Terrorism is not defined by faith. Terrorism is defined by the action of an individual. And I would urge all the community, as the Prime Minister has, as Craig has, to work together to ensure that any support for any terrorist activity here in Australia or overseas is dealt with immediately and reported to authorities. It's not an anti-Muslim issue. It is about putting Australia first, about protecting all of our citizens, no matter what their belief may be, no matter who their God may be. Our laws are about protecting our people.
Craig, thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, in your electorate, very tiny margin, and there's some people very, very annoyed about
Yeah,
this.
look, I have the honour of representing one of the most culturally diverse seats in federal parliament, no doubt. I have a large Islamic population. I'm the third generation of my family to call this seat home. Some of my best friends are Islamic. My children today are sitting in class with Islamic kids, with Buddhists, with Hindus, with every faith, the way Australia has always been. We don't, in this part of Sydney, we don't look at people's faith or their race. We look at fellow Australians. And in my discussions with the Islamic community and with every community in explaining these laws, the reasons for them, these laws apply equally to everyone, irrespective of race, irrespective of religion. We have a serious problem we need to confront, and our number one job as a federal government is to ensure, and will always be our number one job, to ensure the safety of our citizens. And that's the message I'm taking to the community and engaging with them day to day.
Mr.
Okay.
Hockey, just one last question.
Yeah.
What do you make of your performance this on the budget?
Look, that's for others. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.